Hi guys, and welcome to Black Mountain Wargaming. Today I'm going to be showing you the simplest, quickest, and in my opinion the most effective way to make trench bases. Mine are particularly for the Death Corps of Krieg, but they obviously could be for any 40k army or even any other bolt action or anything like that. For me, these look great. They're super quick, super easy, and I'll show you how. So I'll just give you a quick run through of the things you're going to need to make these trench bases. So the first thing is Lollypop sticks. You can pick these up off of eBay, crazy cheap. For I think I got 200 or something of them for about £5 or something like that, maybe even cheaper. The next thing is you can mix in some other materials if you wish. I like to mix in a little bit of the moss. Just adds a little bit of colour to the bases as well. So this is optional. You can use other things. There's options of gaming leaves and things like that as well. I also use the Tamiya weathering powders. So as you can see, mine's nearly run out because of how often I use it. But I use the two different options here. One for the soot black and the other one for the, it's like a powdered dirt effect. I can't exactly remember what they're called, but I'll try and hook it out for later on. I use an old brush just for the weathering powders, and then just an older brush for the sepia and the paint. I'll show you what we do with that later on. If you want, you can use a little mixer as well. I'll show you what we use the mixer for in a moment. Paint wise, we need Morn Fang Brown from GW. All of these are GW paints. The shade Seraphim Sepia. Blood for the Blood God. Once again, that one's optional if you want to make your bases a little bit more gory. A little bit of water. Look how dirty my water is, but it doesn't really matter. And then some PVA glue. This is, I've just stolen my kid's PVA glue there, so and it's worked absolutely fine up until then. I've got a little that my Secret Santa got me this from work, so I'll be using it because we all know that we all spill our washers, so I'll be popping it in there so it's not spillable. I think she got that from Etsy for me. And then last but not least, obviously we need a base. Okay, so I will start showing you how to make these trench bases. So I forgot to mention on the previous list there, you also need sand. So this is just a sand. Once again, I just got this off eBay, just a little bag of sand, wasn't very expensive. Some clippers and just a little mixing dish. All right, I'm going to show you exactly why you need those next. What I'll do first of all is I'll just give you a couple of close-ups, if I can, of the trench bases and how they look. So I think they're pretty effective. When you see how long it takes to do them, I think hopefully you'll agree. I'll maybe post up a video at the end of this of the Death Corps I've done so far. I think they all look pretty cool. Just sets the model out a bit better. I love the way that the planks actually, I know they are wood, but it actually looks like weathered wood. I think it's a great finish. And last but not least, just one of the basic. These are the new GW plastic kits. If anyone has any interest in a painting guide for my actual 158th Regiment colour scheme, then just comment below. I'm sure I can sort something out. I think I've got another 40 odd guys to paint, so I'm sure I can make one of those a painting tutorial. Okay, so next we'll get on to how to make the bases. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, just like Games Workshop have the little pots of textured paint, is we want to make our own textured paint. You can use the pots that GW supply. However, it could get quite expensive if you're doing a complete army like this. So I like to just make my own with the sand, the Mornfang Brown. Obviously you can make that whatever colour you want, and then the PVA glue. And then what I'll do is I will just mix it around until I get the right texture that I want and color that I want, just so it matches the other bases that I've done, and then that will literally make a textured paint there. And not only that, when we go to add the wood on top of this afterwards, the PVA in there will help to set the wood in place, so you don't need to worry too much about that. So this is the sort of consistency we're looking for, just so it's easily applied to the base. And you can see already that's starting to look like mud. All right, so that's first stage done, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So that's all you need to do with the PVA glue, the sand, and the brown paint. So that's those things already out of the way. We're already reducing things down. The next thing we want to do is we want to use these little lollipop sticks, and we want to cut them. Now I like to cut them so they're completely uneven, and I like to have them also so they've got bits of broken wood at the end, just like you can see here, just because it adds a little bit of realisticness to the finish. So once again, it doesn't matter if there's little bits torn off, because obviously wood, particularly if it's been bombarded in a war, is not going to be looking all perfect. So that's literally the next part there finished. So that should be enough there, I would imagine. I might do a couple more, but that should be enough for our base. The base I'm working on today is the base for a Death Rider of Krieg, just because I've got another 5 to build, so I thought I'll just show you one here. So just, I believe it's a 40mm base. So I'll show you what we do next. Right, so up next we get your texture paint that you've just done, and you just pile it onto the base. Now obviously, depending on how you want your finish to look, it will depend on how much you put on. Alright, so we'll just cover the base just like that. And then you can probably imagine what we're going to do next. Then we add on the wood and just press it in. It'll press into the mud. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit of mud on the sticks, it all just adds to the reality of it. Now at this stage, this is the stage that if you're going to add any greenery, I like to add a little bit of greenery, because then it will dry in with the PVA. So what I might do is just pop one of these bits off, pop a little bit of greenery on, and then seal that underneath, just like it's growing out from the bottom. So once again, I just do the same there. Just a bit of greenery on there, and it just looks like it's coming. Okay, so this is what you want them to look like at this stage. Okay, so it doesn't look particularly good at the minute. It just looks like planks of wood stuck on some brown paint. So we will bring it to life as soon as this is dried off. We'll bring it to life. So it can take a little while to dry, but if you're doing 20, 30 of these and then just leave them to one side maybe for an hour or so, hopefully they should be done by then, or at least done to the degree that you can move on with the next stage. But as soon as this is dried off, I will show you the next stage. So I'll get back to you shortly. Okay, so we've let the base dry for a little while. So now we move on to the next stage, and the next stage is staining the wood. So just like you would with any wood when you're staining it in joinery or anything like that, it's very similar, and it actually gives a really good finish on here. So this, we use the sepia for, and your rough brush, and literally all you're doing is applying the sepia to the wood. Now you can be quite liberal with it, you don't need to just put a little bit on. I find a good bit helps just to stain it. and makes it look even more realistic. So make sure you get down right in the cracks. But what I'll do is I'll do 2 pieces of this and then I'll zoom in and show you the difference from that to the normal wood. When I first did this, I was actually shocked how different it looked. It looked so much better. With the stain on there, just instantly brought it to life. Doesn't matter if you get any on the textured paint area, really doesn't matter at all, because you're going to work on that a little bit more later on. Make sure you get it on the little sprigs that are poking out. But if I show you here, makes some difference, I think, to the look. Alright, so I'll finish off painting the other 3 and then we'll get back with the next stage when that's dried off. Right, so there we have it. That's the next part all finished, wood stained and dried off, so it's already starting to come together. But what we're going to do now is just take it up to the next level to make it look extra real. And the way we're going to do that next is we're going to apply the weathering powders. And once again, very easy step, and we'll show you how to do that next. Okay, so we're just down to the last few steps. So for this one, what I would do is I would get the dirt coloured powders. So these are all dirt coloured powders, but it just depends on how light or dark a finish you want. And I just get a good bit of the dirt powder. This is basically just like a makeup kit, these, and then I would just brush over the top just to make them look more weathered. So makes the mud look like it's dried out a little bit more around the outside, but I like that. If you didn't like that as much and you wanted to make it look wet, then you can leave the weathering powders off of that part and maybe put a clear coat or something on there. So that's the first stage of the weathering powders. Alright, so we're starting to look a little bit more realistic. But the next stage I think just finishes it off. So the next stage I go to the weathering powder of the soot on this side. And I get a good bit of the soot. And I just put it on the ends. Just makes it look like the wood's burnt, tarnished a bit more. Don't know whether you can see that. Just gives it a nice tarnished wood effect there. But you see how quick these are? So I've just painted 40 guardsmen up, and I actually did all the bases first before doing the models. Then base sprayed the models and then put them on top of the already painted bases. Just makes it much easier. So you can put a little bit of the black in the middle if you want, just to make it look. Okay, so this is the look we're on at the minute. Now you could finish this off here just by tidying up the rim around the base. So I would just paint the rims black again, just to tidy any dirt off of there and smarten up a little bit. And you could have them just like that. What I like to do is just add a little bit more of an effect. I'll just grab my paintbrush here. So we go for the blood god. Give it a good shake, and you just want to get, I mean, I don't get a lot, I just get a little bit on there, and I would sometimes just put a little bit down in between and just splatter it about. You don't have to put a lot, but let's face it, this is the year 40,000 and all there is war. It's not likely that there's not going to be blood splattered somewhere, is it? So what I'll do is I will just paint the rim and then get you a final picture, and then that's us all done. Okay, so as you can see, that's the trench base all finished. Just painted the rim around the outside just to smarten it up a little bit. But I think, personally, and I may be biased, I just think they look super cool. And I just wanted to show people that it's not as hard as it looks most of the time. And that's quite an easy and simple way of doing it. And then hopefully that will get you a good finish on all base sizes. Alright, so thanks for tuning in. This is Black Mountain Wargaming. I would really appreciate any likes and subscribes or any comments below. If you would like any further painting tutorials on any of the Death Corps of Krieg or any other armies that I have, or any tutorials on doing bases for any of the other armies that I've got that you've seen on Strike and Scorpion, then just drop me a message below and I'll try and get that sorted. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.